Well, hello. This is Dr. Marlo Archer, and this is Facebook Live, which will be posted on YouTube as well. Coping with COVID. I started out doing this as a practice to help me learn how to do Facebook Live. It got so much interest that it became unmanageable in that form, and so I began doing a weekly Zoom, which will actually be today. We had one last week, Thursday. We're going to have it every Thursday, weekly on Zoom at 9 a.m. Arizona time, which you can still register for. And you can get the information for registration at drmarlo.com. I came on Facebook Live today because I sort of feel like a bait and switch. I used Facebook Live for about a week and a half to practice, and so many people got interested in it, then I felt like I had to keep going. And I made an announcement that I wasn't going to do it again, and then I just felt disappointed with myself. So I realized that hey Jim, good to see you, that this Facebook Live can't be predictable. It has to just be on a case-by-case basis. And so I'm going to probably continue to do it here and there, but the Thursday weekly is going to be predictable at 9 a.m. So if you're wanting to join that, please do. That'll be the second session of that today. Jim Corrington, who is here with us today, is just the giant bigwig at the Meadows. And so it's just a great honor to have him here. Thank you so much. Anything you want to beep in with a comment, Jim, feel free. This second section is going to be about rest. This is a 20-minute session, and the topic will change every 2 minutes. We're on the second section, and I've been joined by my lovely cousin Michelle, who's a faithful Facebook Live watcher, and hopefully will be with us at 9 a.m. today. This section is about rest. I was talking about I got the Facebook Lives going. I did them daily for about a week and a half, and then I realized, like, oh, I'm tired. I can't keep this up. Also, with this kind of COVID experience, we're going to have bursts of energy where we feel like, yeah, I can do this, and then there's going to be times where we feel a little bit tired and, sort of sick of the whole thing. And please allow yourself to rest during those times. I allowed myself to rest from Facebook Live on Friday and Saturday, and then it went to Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday, and so I came back with it today feeling like I had some energy for it and wanted to see how it would go, being completely unannounced, and so far so good. I am speaking now just to two people live, my cousin Michelle, and actually it's only one person live. It's just my cousin Michelle. Hello, my cousin Michelle. Michelle, please take rest and relaxation. You're a hard worker, and you need to have rest and everything that you can get during this difficult time. Now, I think that we're coming in on the end of round 2, and I think that it's good for me to just allow myself to rest at the end of this second section, and know that when you just do something spontaneous, you don't ever know how it's going to go. The third section here is to really highlight and comment on the talents that all of you have. Some of you have been watching live for a long time, and you have a lot of specific talents that you can share with people. So, for instance, my cousin Michelle is incredibly good at thinking of really fun, wholesome things to be doing in her home. Amy Winkler is really good at fitness and fitness training, and I bet you're really good at doing burpees. I don't believe I've ever done a successful burpee, but I'd like to. Again, highlighting that everyone here, including Jeannie, has talents that they can share. Jeannie, I haven't seen you in person in a very, very long time, but I remember that one of your special talents is to just make people feel welcome. So whether it's in your home or just in your presence, you make people feel welcome. And that's a talent that you can share during this time. We've had people pop in like Holly Hansen, and I believe that she has horses and may use horses in her therapy. I'm not sure, but that is absolutely the relationship with horses is something that can be shared during this time. And each and every one of you has special talents that can be shared with others during this difficult time, even if you can't hardly get anywhere, you can't go anywhere, you can share with the people that are just around you. Fourth segment here is slow and steady wins the race. The COVID experience is probably, as you can see, turning out to be, a little bit longer than anybody expected. And then it does that again. So we thought it was going to be this long, and we said, oh, okay, we could take it a little bit longer. And then it was this long, and we said, oh, we can take it a little bit longer. Oh, hi to Janelle. Janelle is someone with an incredible amount of patience. And so she, I'm sure, has tons of tips for how you can slow and steady win this COVID race. It's really not a question. Hi, favorite cousin Jennifer. It's really not a question right now of who will specifically survive this experience. It's more a question of whether or not the entire human race will survive and what that society will look like when it's over. So we have the opportunity to hunker down, dig deep, look into our hearts and souls and see if we can bring our society to a higher, better place throughout this experience. We also run the risk of dealing with our very base shadow selves and becoming very, very hostile during this experience. We're having a visit from Eileen in Guatemala. Hola. Thanks for being here. We were talking about specific talents and how slow and steady is going to win the race. And Eileen can speak to us about slow and steady wins the race with building a beautiful family, something that she wanted for a long time. And that is something that she has now. I've probably quarantined with her family in Guatemala, and that may be fun. This is the fifth section, to let yourself and others grieve. We change the topic every 2 minutes. Let yourself and others grieve. Don't bother about what the content is of their grieving or what the content is of your grieving. Lorelei, good to see you. Very good to see you. We're talking now about grieving. Lorelei is a master of song, and I'm sure she could break into song right now about grief and grieving. The point that I'm making in this segment is that we have to let ourselves, and others grieve in the way that they're going to. So somebody might be really, really sad right now that their pet parakeet passed away. Meanwhile, they may not be acting sad about the entire COVID crisis. Don't criticize how they're grieving and say, oh, well, that's not appropriate grieving. You should be grieving about this, that, or the other. It's not even going to make sense. Our grief can get pointed at whatever it feels like we can manage in that moment. So don't push those grief feelings away. Allow yourself to feel them. Allow others to feel them in whatever way they're feeling them, without judgment, without trying to talk their feelings away, like, oh, it'll get better, and, oh, don't worry about it. Well, at least you got your health, and, what are you talking about? We've got a nice home here, and you shouldn't even worry. Let people have their grief, including yourself, however it comes along. Sixth section, cooperation in times of separation. I think this is a really big challenge to our spontaneity right now, is how can we cooperate with each other when we can't even be together, we can't work together, we can't see each other, we're in these little plastic bubbles all by ourselves. The idea, though, that computers are sort of the scourge of society and they contribute to our separation, right now they're contributing to our connection. And whatever you felt about computers and digital communication before this, you might rethink, at least temporarily, communicating with and connecting with your beloved family members, like my favorite cousin Jenny, and my favorite grandcousin Skylar, who's possibly also watching. You can connect with those people and cooperate across great distances. I haven't seen Eileen in probably 10 years. She lives in Guatemala, and yet today we're cooperating together to make the world a better place during this difficult time. Eileen's a fantastic therapist. She offers tons of programs in probably in English and in Spanish. Yeah, I don't know if you offer in English, but I definitely know you offer in Spanish. And we can cooperate right now by just connecting in this way. And Lorelei does psychodrama in the Chicago area, which has been very, very heavily hit. We can cooperate even during these times of separation. We don't have to feel so separated. This is the 7th segment. Ooh, this one is get comfortable talking about death, yours and others. Now, the COVID death estimates are all over the place, but if I even take the lowest estimate, like 0.35%, that means that of my personal Facebook friends, 3 or 4 of them are going to die. Now, that is very sad. Hey, Colleen, we'll see you later at 9 o'clock, all things considered. We're talking now about being comfortable talking about death, your own and others, and the fact that thousands and thousands of people have already passed away, more are going to be passing away, and kids are curious about death. They don't really understand death, and we can't just tell kids during this time, oh, you don't have to worry about that. Like, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to think about that. Because, you're the best person that could talk to them now about this before someone else gets to talk to them about this. So tell them the shortest, true, developmentally appropriate answers that you can give. Don't tell them anything you don't yourself believe in, because they can tell that you're lying. If you're like, well, it's going to be fine. Like, nobody in our family is going to die, and in fact, everyone's going to be fine. Like, you're not going to sound like that. That's very exaggerated, but your kids know when you're not really being truthful. So speak honestly, very short things. Just answer their questions very briefly and truthfully, but don't avoid the discussion. Let's see, the 8th section is, oh yes, okay, power of healthcare attorney. Hello, Hannah from Taiwan. I believe you're in Taiwan. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a great pleasure to be cooperating across all sorts of oceans at this point. We're on our 8th segment right now, talking about power of healthcare attorney. This is something that older people typically think about, but I think today everyone needs to think about it, particularly if you're a single mother or just a single adult without children, and you don't have maybe parents nearby. You might want to designate someone to be your power of healthcare attorney. This is someone who can make healthcare decisions for you when you are maybe not able to speak for yourself. Some of the COVID cases have gotten very, very critical and led to death, and people outside of the patient are having to make decisions. And right now, If there's no papers written, your next of kin gets to make those decisions for you, and you know who that person is, you know how available they are, and you know what their values are and whether or not their values would be in line with what you would want. And if that person is perhaps not available or not in line with what you would want, it's a good idea to designate someone as your power of healthcare attorney. Rule of thumb is, maybe someone younger than you, maybe somebody with some medical knowledge of some sort, and particularly the same types of values around end-of-life experiences. That is the end of the 8th segment, bringing us to the 9th segment, which is gratitude, anything that you're grateful for. I am really grateful for a ton of people that helped me out when I was in a terrible situation 12 years ago. One of those was Liz Wild, who is now an attorney, and she has agreed to be my professional executor if something happens to me during this crisis. So she will take care of closing and operating my practice with John's help. If that's the case, I have a debt of gratitude going out to Bernie Duguay, who was my professional executor at the time when I needed to use one, when I was in my accident. She, along with John and countless others, helped close my practice, transition my clients to other providers, and just kind of take care of all that business when I could not. Very, very thankful to my sister-in-law, Lisa, who is my healthcare power of attorney, and a nurse who is fighting COVID right now in Minnesota. Definite gratitude to Lisa. Also gratitude to one of my favorite cousins, Michelle Olson, who also agreed to serve as my healthcare power of attorney should Lisa not be available. Also thankful to my brother-in-law, Peter, who serves as John's backup healthcare power of attorney. So if some reason Lisa would not be available, Peter would step in, and we thank Peter for that. I also thank my colleague Megan Day, who has from time to time agreed to serve for me, as well as my cousin Jennifer, my favorite cousin Jennifer, who has agreed to serve as a backup executor of my will, should that be necessary. And we're to the final section, which is integration, where we kind of just sum up everything that I just mentioned today. What's coming to my mind is the idea that COVID is not going to be over for quite some time. We're going to need to take a slow and steady approach. Hello, Delina. You're joining us in the last segment. You can certainly watch this in a replay. The last segment is integration, so you're going to get all the information right now. We need to give ourselves rest and relaxation during this time. That's going to be much longer than we expect. Let yourself and others grieve. Cooperate with other people across a distance. Get comfortable speaking about death, both your own and other people's death, including being comfortable speaking about death to the extent that children want to or have interest in asking questions. Small, true statements are the best. Getting your own affairs in order, having a power of healthcare attorney would be a great thing to have, and that to not lose track of gratitude during these difficult times. I'm outside in my own backyard with a fountain and birds and trees, and it's beautiful. I have people here watching with me live from all over the world, Guatemala, Taiwan, even Scottsdale. Thank you all. See you at 9 a.m.